Visualize yourself scaling a mountain where the temperature plummets to 5 degrees C. Oxygen is scarce, making breathing a struggle, and the sun's glare is blinding. You've willingly spent a fortune for this experience, investing years saving for top-notch gear and securing one of the best guides available. Yet, as you stand on the brink of conquering Everest, a startling sight catches your eye: a lone green boot protruding from the snow. This eerie marker signifies you're at an altitude of 8,048 meters, with only 350 meters left to the summit. These boots belong to an unfortunate soul who perished attempting what you're now doing. In recent years, over 300 climbers have lost their lives on Everest. 2023 marked a grim record, with 17 deaths in just the first half of the year. Approximately 200 bodies still lie scattered across the mountain slopes. An unwritten rule in the mountains states that no one is to be rescued, a harsh reality that climbers face. If you explore various websites offering expeditions to Everest's summit, you'll be astounded by the prices, ranging from $10,000 to $84,000. The necessary equipment isn't cheap either. You'll need specialized suits, trackers, goggles, and an oxygen tank, especially crucial above 7,000 meters, where breathing becomes a challenge. So, conquering Everest is a luxury. But even with all the money spent, there's no guarantee of a safe return or even the return of your remains. The owner of the infamous green boots remains unidentified, but his body has become a notorious landmark on Everest's northern route. Some speculate he could be Sang Paljor, a member of an Indian team wearing boots made by the renowned Clack Company, which specializes in climbing footwear. Others believe he might be DJ Morup, who also vanished on Everest. In short, if you perish on your ascent, you'll likely be left unrescued and unidentified, a fate devoid of dignity. The controversial issue of high-altitude rescues is exemplified by the story of David Sharp. As a child, Sharp climbed Roseberry Topping, a hill in North Yorkshire, sparking his lifelong passion for mountaineering. He achieved remarkable feats, climbing Africa's Kilimanjaro, Europe's Elbrus, and Cho Oyu, one of the Himalayas' highest peaks. In 2003, Sharp embarked on his first Everest expedition. Despite not reaching the summit, he demonstrated extraordinary endurance. He suffered severe frostbite during the climb, losing several fingers, but still assisted an exhausted Spanish climber by sharing extra oxygen. In a subsequent attempt, weakened and without an oxygen tank, Sharp couldn't complete the final 350 meters to the summit. Climbers often seek to set records, and an oxygen-free ascent of the world's highest peak is among the most perilous challenges, relying solely on one's endurance. Sharp embarked on his third Everest journey in 2006, assuring his worried mother that climbing Everest wasn't as perilous as rumored. After all, there are always other climbers nearby. On May 13th, he set out from base camp. Despite advice to take oxygen tanks, he declined. Over the next day, various groups reported seeing a fatigued Sharp at different points along the route. On May 14th, he was found in a limestone cave near the site of the green boots in a deteriorating state. Sharp sat with his arms wrapped around his knees, seemingly unwell, but nobody stayed to assist him. His earlier reassurances to his mother proved tragically unfounded. Everest's extreme conditions are a formidable challenge for any climber, and ultimately, each climber is responsible for their own safety. Other climbers, focused on their own perilous journey, are unlikely to risk their lives for others, as Sharp had previously done. Found alone and unconscious, Sharp's dire situation worsened. Another climber administered medicine and oxygen but had to move on. Later, Maxim Chia and his group encountered Sharp, whose face had turned black, signaling the severity of his condition. The group contemplated a rescue plan, but others advised against risking their lives. All they could do was send a distress signal to base camp. Unfortunately, the extreme conditions made a rescue impossible, and Sharp succumbed to the elements. His death ignited media controversies, raising ethical questions about the responsibilities of climbers to aid others in distress. Over 40 people witnessed Sharp's plight, yet none intervened, highlighting a grim reality of mountaineering. In the mountains, it's every climber for themselves. Sir Edmund Hillary, a veteran climber, expressed shock at this attitude, noting that such callousness is unique to Everest. Modern commercial expeditions often prioritize reaching the summit over the well-being of individual climbers. Even Sharp's mother, Linda, acknowledged the harsh reality of mountaineering, emphasizing the importance of self-preservation over attempting risky rescues. The story of Frances Yarbo Distano and her husband Serge Aran illustrates the dangers of climbing with a loved one. Frances lived in the vibrant ski town of Telluride, Colorado, a hub for adventurous climbers worldwide. She met Serge, nicknamed Snow Leopard for his achievements in the former Soviet Union, and they later married. Sharing a passion for mountaineering, the couple gradually took on greater challenges, including Frances's historic ski descent from Elbrus, making her the first American woman to achieve such a feat. They set their sights on Everest, aiming for Frances to be the first American woman to summit the peak without supplemental oxygen or guide support. The couple's 11-year-old son, fearful for their safety, had a premonitory dream of climbers trapped in a storm, unable to escape. Despite his pleas, Frances was determined to proceed with the Everest climb. On May 17, 1998, Frances and Serge embarked on their ascent from base camp. They reached impressive heights, but encountered numerous challenges, including malfunctioning flashlights and extreme exhaustion. They made several attempts to reach the summit, but ultimately decided to turn back, recognizing the dangers of pushing beyond their limits. The area above 8,000 meters, known as the death zone, is particularly perilous due to the lack of oxygen and the body's struggle for survival. Regretting not bringing oxygen tanks, they formulated an escape plan. In a surprising decision, they split up. Serge returned to camp to find Frances missing and set out again with supplies to find her. Meanwhile, Ian Woodhull and Kathy Odo, also on their Everest journey, discovered a semi-conscious Frances in the snow, suffering from severe frostbite and oxygen deprivation. She had removed most of her clothing, a common reaction to advanced frostbite. Ian and Kathy realized they had to abandon their own expedition to assist her. Despite their efforts to dress and warm her, Frances was unresponsive, and they were forced to leave her to seek help at base camp. Serge, who had gone to rescue his wife, disappeared, and his body was found a year later. The tragic fate of Frances and Serge underscores the harsh reality of Everest. Even a loving partner's dedication can be futile against the mountain's deadly forces. The story of Scott Fisher, founder of the travel company Mountain Madness, further highlights the risks faced by guides on Everest. In 1996, Fisher organized a significant Everest expedition, coinciding with a competing expedition by adventure consultants, led by New Zealand's Rob Hall. The two groups vied for the summit, but Fisher's team faced challenges, including illness and exhaustion among its members. Despite these setbacks, Fisher demonstrated his commitment as a guide, assisting climbers in need. Both teams reached the summit past the safe descent deadline, and a brutal snowstorm soon engulfed the mountain. As conditions deteriorated, Fisher instructed his team to descend without him, prioritizing their safety over his own. He succumbed to the elements, and his body remains on Everest to this day. His sacrifice illustrates the extreme dedication some guides have to their clients' well-being, even in the face of mortal danger. Rob Hall's story is equally compelling. A seasoned climber, he embarked on a mission to conquer the 7 summits, starting with Everest. His company, Adventure Consultants, charged clients a premium for guided ascents, promising a safe and successful experience. However, during the 1996 climb, several challenges arose, including snowblindness and exhaustion among clients. Hall made the difficult decision to leave one climber, Beck Weathers, behind for safety reasons. Another client, Doug Hansen, showed signs of severe fatigue, yet Hall pressed on, driven by competition and ambition. They reached the summit, but the descent was marred by a violent snowstorm. Hall stayed with Hansen, refusing to abandon him, but both perished in the storm. The tragedy sparked a renewed debate over the commercialization of Everest and the ethical responsibilities of guides. George Mallory's story is a haunting reminder of Everest's mysteries and dangers. Mallory, a British alpinist, aspired to be the first person to summit Everest. He participated in several expeditions in the early 1920s, facing avalanches and harsh conditions. In 1924, he and his partner Andrew Irvine disappeared near the summit, leaving a mystery that lasted for 75 years. In 1999, an American expedition found Mallory's body, suggesting a fatal fall. Irvine's fate remains unknown. Their story is a poignant example of the ultimate price climbers can pay in pursuit of Everest's summit. In conclusion, climbing Everest is a pursuit fraught with peril. Each climber must weigh the risks and be prepared for the harsh realities of the mountain. Whether attempting the climb alone, with a loved one, or under the guidance of a professional, the dangers are ever present. The stories of climbers like David Sharp, Francis Yarbo Destano, Scott Fisher, and Rob Hall are testaments to the mountain's unforgiving nature and the extraordinary challenges faced by those who dare to ascend it. Remember to subscribe for more incredible stories of human endurance and the limits of adventure.